TRS meetings also count?
I was thinking that it could, just based on, the KRS statute that I sent, it talks about the requirements being like planning officials, so.
I always learn something from them.
Me too, me too. Yeah.
If we could have commissioner microphones on, was the request from IT. So, thank you. I see some green up there.
So do you need us to send you an email then, talking about our attendance to comp and TRS and that type of thing?
If you want, if that would be, if that would not be too much for you, just to
Yeah.
kind of tell me everything, all the TRS meetings that you've done, just in 2025, I think all of those would fill out, and satisfy the hours, needed. But then I can go, from the time I've been here, I can just go back to our meetings as well and just put all those in there.
So this is just for 2025?
This can be 24, 25 as
okay.
well, but I think the amount of meetings that you all have, I think will qualify enough hours, needed, but.
So the meeting that Dan sent us about that I think is coming up,
Yes,
that one should be one that we could listen to
Absolutely.
virtually and it doesn't
Absolutely.
count.
yes, yeah,
And the flume meeting the public meeting that we had back in March, that should be able to count as well.
absolutely, yeah, because we're just going over the processes of planning directors and so, yeah.
Yeah, I had found back in my email stuff last night, the last listing that Michaela had sent out, and it had quite a few of the other items on it that she didn't
Yes.
capture.
Yes,
So-
and I will update that by the end of this week and just send you all an updated version, so so like I know, how many hours are left and
Yeah,
everything, but
for
yeah.
sure.
And I'll keep you all updated on that.
So tell us exactly how many hours we must have. My understanding is after you get appointed, you have to have 4 hours. And then how much is it after that?
Yes, so I was talking to Sam about that. The KRS statutes are a little convoluted in that it could be 8 hours total, or it could be 12, but for safety purposes, I'm gonna say 12, because 12 isn't like terribly, challenging. But
12 hours a year?
12 hours every 4 years.
Every
Okay.
4 years.
Okay, and then
You could
so,
divide it down, yeah.
and then for reappointment, you can do either 4 hours before your reappointment or 4 months before your reappointment or 4 months after your reappointment. You have to have 4 hours total in that time
In that
span.
period of
In that
time.
period, yeah.
And
Get
so
4 more hours.
that's for not only first appointment, but for reappointment.
For all reappointments as well, yeah. Mhm.
And
And then in that 4-year period of that appointment, 8 extra hours, so 12 hours total.
So
Well,
like for you and
I
I.
need 4 hours real quick.
we
Well,
need
wait
4
a
hours
minute here.
because we
This,
got reappointed
this is
in
effective June the
It's in May.
27th
Dang.
of this
the
year.
end of- I think it was the end of May. How-
Yes,
So it
correct.
doesn't cover any,
Reappointed? I did too. Yeah, you did.
Steve? Steve, were you,
4
were,
hours in here.
Steve, were you reappointed before June 27th?
Yeah, this year, yes.
Well, then this is effective June 27th, 2025.
Well, there was a previous statute that was codified before that date with the same requirements.
Okay, that's what I see, I didn't go back and dig that out, so that's
Yeah.
why I was asking. It's very careful on here as far as wording.
Yeah.
So are we interpreting then everything going back to January of this year's first? Is that what you're saying?
We were just looking at reappointment.
Yeah, for reappointment. I'm a January, February
Okay, you're-
reappointment.
okay, so
So I'm
your
just
appointment.
curious.
Yeah, you're
How far
due.
back do we go?
So in these, they're good for 3 years. So,
But you were reappointed in January, so you gotta get 4 hours of,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to make sure,
Yeah.
Steve, you're right.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking the question in that category.
So you were reappointed in
January
January.
21st.
Steve and I were May of this year.
and he was in
You
May.
as well in May of this year, so there's 3 of us that have to have 4 hours either before or after the reappointment.
within 4 months of the reappointment.
4 months.
Either.
Either or, yeah.
So in my particular case, there was one training that was left off, and you'll get to it eventually.
Yes, I will.
But I had enough hours, do they count for the previous time period? Because I have enough hours between the previous 4 months of starting, yeah, they all happened in October of last year.
Then I think they will fall
Yeah.
and count towards those
Yeah.
hours because they were before your reappointment.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
in that, it's in that period of time.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, those are the nuances, hard to
Yeah,
follow.
and the KRS, there was still these requirements even before the June 27th effective date. It was just codified under a different chapter, so it's a different, it was codified under 147, not 100. But it's still the same requirements. They're just trying to consolidate all of the chapters into KRS 100. But it's still the same requirements and everything.
So,
So,
given the fact that many of us are in arrears, so to speak, we need to establish kind of a goal for ourselves to get back into order. And my thought was that if we set a goal that by the end of the calendar year, that we hoped to get ourselves back into some
Well,
semblance
we
of
have
order
8
with
months, you have 8 months, 4 months on either side of your
this.
reappointment.
Correct,
To get 4 hours.
right?
And
then after that, it's over a 4-year period, correct?
Yes, correct, yes. And I will say that the Kentucky APA conference is coming up, and that would fulfill, if you all sign up for the full conference, it's a Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday conference, and they have enough credit hours in that full conference to fulfill all the hours needed. So,
When is that?
it is August 20th, 21st, and 22nd, I believe. But I'll send you all a link. And if you're in the Kentucky APA, which I think just in the fact of being a planning official, you all are officially or automatically in Kentucky APA, I think it's only $35 for the,
That's Louisville or?
it's in Lexington this year.
Okay.
Is it virtual?
It's not virtual, but I think there may be some options, but I can double check with
Michaela
them on
had
that.
sent us a list of online programs. I couldn't find the list,
Okay, yeah,
but that would be more
absolutely.
what I would be
Yeah,
looking
me
for.
I think I have a printout of the email of that list, so I can send you all those links and just put that back in the
when,
email.
when was
Yeah.
that meeting that we went to at the old elementary school? that-
March 19th,
Okay, so
Flu
that
meeting?
that counts as an hour for us, right there.
an hour or more.
It was
Right.
longer,
Maybe 2,
yeah.
because that was that ought to count for all of us.
Yes, that's the flume meeting.
Yeah.
we're
That
talking
flu
about.
meeting, that's a 2-hour, right then and there, of your 4-hour requirement.
Yeah. And once I go back through those meetings, y'all might have enough hours already, so, yeah.
Well,
I'll
Tom,
just
if
update that.
TRS counts, then
Yes, absolutely,
it's
and
an hour
our,
a week,
and
it's an
our-
hour a month.
and our planning, I mean, just the number of meetings that I did with Josh and Michaela and the interns before, like, we met every week for a couple of months, working on the early stuff for the comp plan before it ever even came to the commission.
That's gotta count.
I mean, that all counts.
May I ask if the meetings that we held for recruitment of the director count in any way? I'm seeing you go, no, come on, Henry.
We were learning stuff all the way.
Not really a topic.
Personnel, and I just, yeah.
I don't see the personnel in the
You can't
list.
learn
of-
personnel.
Bummer. Bummer, think about all those, all
I know
that
it.
time.
Whole life.
It
And
says
then-
other topics reasonably related to the duties of planning officials and planning professionals may be approved by majority vote of the planning commission. But, that's just in the KRS.
Let's give ourselves a raise.
Yeah,
Now
right.
you're
That's a little
talking.
dangerous.
Now you're talking, Henry.
No,
That's
Now,
just,
That's good, I like that.
and I think the other one that's gonna be a little more complicated is the documentation that they describe in here.
Yes.
You're gonna have to come up with a method,
Yes,
how you
and
want to track
I was
that.
curious about that as well because just based on the KRS, it says the secretary of the committee or the commission is like, responsible for holding all of the records and all that. So I was wondering, if I am considered the secretary?
Because they're
I
asking,
don't know if it's you or if it's Lisa.
Oh, okay.
if I'm
I would
online
suspect
though,
it'd be Lisa.
Okay.
if I take a look online training,
Mm-hmm.
I can get a printed document
Yeah.
from that online training, which is a document that's suitable, my interpretation for what you need to have for records.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have it printed out, or an electronic copy of it probably would satisfy that too, if you
Yes.
have that.
And even the emails that, so some of these emails are just like, I listened to a podcast for an hour and a half and those emails are recorded in here, so I'll keep record of that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, those, you just, because I noticed it added more detail on how you record keeping. That's all I was at on there.
Your, your drive around the county, you
Yes.
and I both get 2 hours for that.
Yes, yeah.
That counts.
Yeah.
So, what we probably need to
No,
do
it
is,
should, shouldn't it?
what we probably need to do is put this,
I agree.
a routine report about training
Yes.
on
yeah.
our agenda for a period of time, and then we can get a sense of
Absolutely.
where we are with that.
Absolutely. Until like we're all caught up and
Until
everything. Yeah.
we're a bit caught up.
Yes, yeah, that sounds good.
Some of us that are in trouble will
I'm
get
always in
ourselves,
trouble.
we'll get
Yeah.
ourselves out of trouble.
I'm always in trouble with
So what do you think? Do we believe Rita is coming?
Did you say she was?
So I could have driven to Junction City and back a couple of
No, we had to be there, I know.
Okay. How much of this is required for this month?
Well, we should check with Rita and see, I mean, if she's 2 minutes away, you know.
We really don't have much business today.
No, it'll,
This subdivision approval that's listed on here, is there gonna be anybody here talking about that today?
Don't believe so, no.
All right, okay, I'll tell them, thanks. No, 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 no.
And
Oh, we're not
do we
waiting.
need to have somebody here
It's
talking
no
about it
one.
besides her presenting?
No, since it's not a public hearing,
Okay.
right.
I'll tell them when you're ready. Okay, all right, see you soon, we'll see you soon, all right. She's crossing the bypass.
she's what?
Crossing the bypass. Where?
Well, at Walmart,
Oh, at Walmart, okay.
yeah.
10 minutes away.
We have talked a lot about training, and I don't want to belabor it, but I'm just now looking at this 100.346, and it looks like that 120-day requirement, the 4 months issue, is for staff and not commissioners. I wonder if anyone else reads it that way?
That would be nice.
I decided not to bring that one up, Henry, but it looked
I'm
like,
happy to agree with that,
I
Henry.
do agree with that.
What do you think, Hannah? I mean, that,
Are you looking at section C?
These people are-
1C?
professional in their diligence, but maybe not planning professionals. Yeah, the 1B,
1B, okay.
because that's the only instance of that 120 days.
So I read it as 1A being for P and Z and BOA commission, and then 1B being for P and Z staff. And then
Right, yes,
Okay.
agreed.
Yeah.
And so that, no
Oh.
4-month requirement for
Oh,
the commission.
that's what I'm thinking too. You-
Huh?
We
We
are
just gotta
classified
break
as a
I need a
planning
breakout
commissioner,
yes,
is the way I read these.
Tell you.
You can continue to be
Oh.
in trouble.
I'm so sorry about that.
I've
It's
always-
one
I was
year
born
prior
in
or
trouble.
1 year
I stay in
post.
trouble.
Okay, okay.
They created statutory
about that.
maze, but yeah, just
Okay.
want to make sure we're clear on that.
So sort of, once you get this kind of updated, then if you'll send out a listing to us of who needs what.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah,
That
sorry
would
about that.
be-
There
That
was
would
no
be
format.
grand.
Okay, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a maze. I had to like put like side notes and just
Mhm.
like, yes.
Did everybody else hear that, anybody else hear that Luca Mariano
Yeah,
filed for
bankrupt.
bankruptcy?
I mean, it
Hasn't
seems
made the
like,
paper yet.
it
but-
seems like yesterday that he was here asking for the zone change.
I know. I don't know what House of Cards sounds
Well,
like, doesn't it?
My understanding is that industry is way over
He,
capacity right
Oh,
now.
yeah,
gotta be.
he bought at the high point.
Would
It's a
would
very,
you all
very-
be interested in taking a brief recess from the meeting
Yes.
and the live stream until Rita gets
Oh,
here?
Oh, we're on stream right now?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't know we were live.
So,
Yes, if we could have a motion to go into, well, we don't even have a quorum yet.
that's
We
right.
can't do either. We can't even get in session, can we?
Henry,
Yes, ma'am.
may we go ahead and call this meeting to order?
We're back on. We have a quorum.
Good, that's great. So, can I ask for approval of the minutes of the June meeting?
So moved?
Can I get a second? All those in favor say yes or raise your hand.
Yes.
Thank you. They'll be approved. Financial report?
Yeah, no, this is obviously the month of June that we're looking at, so it's the last month of last year's fiscal year. So everything we'll be talking about is basically total year numbers. And we'll start with income. And the first thing we should notice is the first two lines, Danville contribution and Boyle County contribution. If you look at the first column, which is year-to-date, and compare it to the budget and the amended budget, you can see that both numbers are short. And it's because the fiscal fourth quarter contribution by both Danville and Boyle County were not deposited until July of this year. And so they didn't make it into last year's revenue. So what it means, of course, is that our income is basically understated for the year, total year, by about $38,475. And we'll talk a little bit more than that, more about that when we get down to the total revenue. Well, the next thing just to point out is 3 lines down where it says construction review fees. Total year, we came in at $51,577 compared to original budget of $2,500 and a budget amendment of $43,000. So, that was a very strong income category for us this year. We talked about it all year. I don't know that it will continue, but it's been a very strong income category for us. If you drop a little, about another 10 lines down for total review fees, that's a sum of all the other review fees that we get. You can see our total year was about $24,749, which is about half of what we originally budgeted, but more than what we had in the budget amendment. And the zoning permits were the ones who were significantly under what we had budgeted for. I don't know if we just had a total light year in total of zoning permits, or if we just budgeted too strong to begin with when we put the year together. And then about in the middle of the page, you'll see total commission revenue of $198,372 for the fiscal year, and which is actually a little more than we originally budgeted, even though it misses the fourth quarter contribution of both Boyle and Danville. But it is short of what we had in the budget amendment of 223. So in total, we were at 89% of our budget amendment without the fourth quarter income that we hopefully could have gotten in there from the two entities. If you would put the 38,000 into what our revenue would have been for the year, we'd be at 236,000 plus for the year, and actually 6% over the budget amendment. So that means, of course, this year we're going to have 5 quarters of contribution from the city and the county. So we will be over, revenue income probably this year, because we're going to have a whole extra quarter of contribution in compared to what we budgeted for.
We can bank that, right?
What?
We can bank that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect what goes on with the bank
Right.
account. And I assume we've asked Boyle County and Danville for the first quarter contribution?
Yes, we did.
Okay, good. Next is expenses, and just drop down to the bottom line on that page, total personnel. You can see our total personnel expenses were about $124,516 compared to original budget of $143 and a revised of $147. So we're at 84% there, and that was, of course, because we went for a period of time without a director.
Right.
And that's what depressed all of those personnel numbers. If you flip to the next page and go really to the bottom, the total expenditures, I'm just going to go to that because all the other expenditures were plus or minus. There wasn't anything really out of bounds. You can see that our total expenditures for the fiscal year were $210,000 compared to original budget of $226 and a budget amendment of $244. So we were at 86% or about 14% below our budget amendment. And we had hoped to get 2 additional expenses into last year's expenditures, which haven't made it yet. One is the charge we got for Linden's role that he played, which is about $5,500. And the second was the charge that we got from Bluegrass Ad for their initial support of the comp plan, which is $36,000, which Sally has asked for additional documentation substantiating $36,000.
Yeah, I'd really like to see
Wow,
that
I would
too.
too.
But at any rate, so that was $42,000 of added expense that originally we had hoped to get in last year because we didn't budget for it this year. So if we would have gotten that in, if we would have got that $42,000 into last year, our total expenses would be at 252 or about 3.4% over. So if we would have gotten both this added income that we didn't get in and this added expense that we didn't get in, and we would have been 6% over on income and 3% over on expenses compared to what we had,
They just
our
happened to
budget amendment.
fall at the wrong time.
And basically, and basically they almost offset each other. It's, $38,000 of revenue that we didn't get into last year and $42,000 worth of expenses that we would have liked to have gotten into last year. So they kind of offset each other, as we go forward, but both our budget and our revenue are going to be, both our revenue and our expense are going to be probably pretty strongly over planned this year because of that.
Did we receive any further information or detail?
Yes, me and Henry actually have a meeting at Bluegrass Ad with Logan tomorrow to discuss to discuss
Okay.
the Linden's invoice first. But it did get increased a little bit because I did ask for more details, so.
Okay.
I really support our chair's request or demand that they account for that, because for that amount of money, we should have gotten a lot more than we did from them
Yeah.
and not have to finish our own comp plan the way that we've done on
Yeah.
our
Well,
own.
To supply us with a simple line item saying this is what it was, without any detail is just not acceptable.
No,
I
Especially
just
for
want to
the
say that your director has been working very zealously on this issue, getting
you.
itemization for something that occurred before her tenure began. She's
Yeah.
really been working hard on it.
And we appreciate that,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
And the only other comment I have, and it really isn't, it's, this is the end of the year, so typically we start a formal audit at this point. And Hannah has already reached out to Chad Robinson of Kerball Roads and Butler and got that ball rolling to do the audit for the year. And that's all I have to report, and we do need to
So we
accept
probably
it.
need a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Terry.
Nice job, Jerry.
Good work.
Thank you,
Terry.
sir.
Terry?
Okay, let's see here. Construction sureties.
So, yes, would you like to speak at all? Yes? Okay.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to come and have the option to renew that letter of credit for what we call the Rick House Road project. I'm J.J. Harris. I'm with the Danville-Boyle County Development Corporation, and we represent the Boyle County Industrial Foundation, a not-for-profit foundation that operates the industrial park and has been making investments in the community since 1960. So the letter of credit renewal for Rick House Road is in its fourth year. We understand this. We have, in 2016, a 113-acre parcel at the back of that property that Rick House Road would connect. If we were to sell that property, then the option, or they exercise that option, we would have to build that road. They would pay half, we would pay half for that development, was in the terms of the contract. As you know, the state of the bourbon industry is somewhat needing, I think is a good word. And the option would be to a bourbon producing company. I can't say the name, but it local contacts. We don't expect that option to be exercised at any point in the future. Again, they have until October, I think, of '26. So we're asking to humbly renew that letter of credit. We have updated it through Farmers Bank, renewed our proper paperwork and due diligence. If the company does not exercise that option in 2026, then we'll come back to the board with a different plan. What we are doing in the meantime, that is part of the overall master plan, and I'm sorry, you may not have a copy of this, because I just sent it to Hannah and Lori, is the overall plat of the industrial park. We were awarded a $1 million grant from the Kentucky Product Development Initiative through the Economic Development Authority, which is the city-county public property purchasing entity, to build what we call John H. Stegall Drive. And that drive will go between Pioneer Services and Meggitt, the old Caterpillar building, and open 90 acres on the right side of Corporate Drive. We pushed this road forward for two reasons. A local company has an option on 20 acres of that behind Pioneer Services, and Meggitt, Parker Meggitt Group, has a large propane tank that they continuously refill for their carbon operations. They've been bringing their transports through their parking lot up and around, and they really needed an access road to support that, to kind of more safety issues, to quit having those tanker trucks come through their parking lot where there's a lot of small vehicles and have a direct access. So we have planned for this year and have permitting applied through the state for some stream crossing permits. We expect those to be approved by October, and you'll see some construction work. So limited funds that the Industrial Foundation has, and looking at how we best support existing industry, we felt the need to move forward and write a grant and support the existing industries out there, rather than an industry that is not as necessarily most pressing in need for road access. And again, we still have plenty of access to that. There's at least 89 acres off Corporate Drive between County Extension and TransNav, the former TransNav building, which is PVL, and then it backs up to that 113. So the need for that Rick House Road is really not necessary yet, because there's been no land transfer, if that makes any sense. I'm sure you get it. For the public, generally speaking, I mean, it's hard to grasp what we're talking about, but we're building a road on the right. In short term, we're going to focus on building a road on the right side of Corporate Drive versus the one on the left side that's not needed at this time. Any specific questions I can?
Just to understand properly, you need to extend that letter of credit because you have another year plus that somebody has the option to build out there.
Correct. To purchase and build.
Right, so they legally have that option has to stay on the table until that time expires. So
Correct.
that's why you need to keep the letter of credit. Okay, thank you for explaining that very well. And then if they do not exercise that option, then you'll look at other opportunities to use that land for something else.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And the length of the letter of credit extension is just a 12-month period?
Yes, sir. I believe they go
Is that what you got?
12
for
months at
record?
a time.
12 months? I'm just making sure.
And we have that letter here.
Yes, okay.
Mr. Harris, are the amounts in the letter of credit sufficient to the construction costs that might need to be undertaken?
We believe so.
Okay.
Our due diligence was done last fall to
Okay.
renew both of those, to look at the engineering cost, to see what we needed to do, and I think we updated the letter. We got quote, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have some kind of engineer stamp to that effect?
Yes, so Kendall Wise with Vantage Engineering has basically been the one that's been our engineering cohort and made estimates.
Okay, thank
for
you.
us. We feel comfortable with his estimates.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Do we need to make a motion to approve this renewal?
We do, and it's a unique motion because we are going outside the 3-year period allotted for these sureties. And so here's, if you're inclined to make a motion for approval, I would say that due to economic and industry conditions that have inhibited the public-private partnership responsible for the bonded improvements, and due to the uncertainty around the future of the project, Planning Commission finds an extraordinary hardship that justifies granting an exception under subdivision regulation 1.5 and extending the period of the surety by 1 year.
Is anybody willing to make that motion?
I like that motion. I'd like to make that motion, please.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Henry's good, isn't he?
Thank you, JJ.
We want to keep him for sure. All right, subdivision approvals?
Yes. So we've got. We've got 3201 Lebanon Road LLC has applied for the subdivision of a 313.79 acre parcel of land into 2 tracts located at 3201 Lebanon Road. And it is currently zoned ag, but I will say it was improperly zoned IBD for a long period of time, maybe 10 years. But Steve, when he was here, went back and kind of dug through some files, and it is currently zoned ag. So.
Oh.
And if you would like to speak more about that at all?
So I was just waiting to hear if you
Oh.
were finished.
Sorry, there is just kind of a little bit of, just kind of showing you where it's at. But it is considered a minor plat, so I was just curious about that. But yeah, so it's kind of a, just a simple split into two tracks, but.
Okay, would anybody like to speak in favor of this?
Yes, I'm sorry the representatives aren't here, but our understanding is they're from out of state. But what's going on with this track, it's over 300 acres, as Hannah said, and the building is over 800,000 square feet, and 100 acres has been marketed by CBR&E Real Estate out of Louisville. We have a option to purchase in place from an industrial leasing concern that should be executed in August. I'll say mid-August. It's been pushed back a couple times because Cody, the current facility operators, have been removing equipment since November. So the building in 100 acres would sell, and that would leave the remaining 212 plus acres, 213 acres available for other development. As you can see from that plat, it's more agricultural, and there's 5 gas lines that run through it. And you might recall there's an old ball field out there on the backside of Stewart's Lane.
There's a pond.
Pavilion, a little pond.
Yeah.
That's about the only real buildable site. I think the future land use map shows all that area as industrial or IBD, but we will coordinate with the purchaser of the facility to make sure that they come in and do the appropriate steps to, we don't have an end user, or an end user of the building in mind. We have a purchaser, but they're an industrial leasing concern. So we'll make sure that they come into conforming use with an operator.
So
when
they
the time is
only want to
appropriate.
they want to cut off the old Donnelly building.
And 100 acres. So if you look at if you're looking at that map,
Do you-
sir, and you see the greenery around the building, basically the more green parcel versus what is cropland, it's basically that section that runs from Lebanon Road all the way to the backside.
Do you have a plat in one of the,
Yes.
see, that's probably easier to see,
Well,
Go back what?
back one.
right.
No, forward one then. There.
Okay, so that's,
Yeah, so if you look at the upper right,
so
coming
the
from
dotted
Lebanon Road.
line is what they want to cut off.
Yes, sir.
Well,
How do you do that?
no,
No,
this is what they're cutting off.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the dotted line.
Yeah,
Yes,
It's
sir.
lot one.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, that line with dots on it.
What is the dotted line?
That's just points marking where their survey.
Little bullet points that are on the line.
the plat, or this particular plat came in with a lot of modifications since we last seen it from the tech review meeting, and they've done a great job of bringing it up to the standards I mean, there were simple things, as simply as, this was not Boyle County, it was Boyd County. It was on it multiple times, so we just,
So I have a question. Do you have the legal right to speak to this?
I'm giving you background information, ma'am.
there is, that's what I was gonna say. Right now, there's nobody that technically owns this is here, but I don't know that we need to, on the plat, I don't think we need that, do we?
As long as we have the proper authority for this application, that authority for a plat doesn't need to be here. We're at a zone map amendment, then we'd need,
That, exactly,
Okay.
So that is not required.
yes, ma'am,
right.
Just
And
a
that-
little sensitive about that.
indeed.
That's a valid statement on here. And
Do you have any other questions?
did you talk to these folks directly?
I
about the
did,
plan?
and it was only really about the revisions, to make sure we had the revisions in time for this meeting, but nothing further.
Okay. And
So
are-
the zoning remains the same, it's simply making it into 2 lots versus 1?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, the types of things that were missing was like the building wasn't there on that
Yes.
plan. So some very simple observations, and we agree, we noticed the same thing you did, JJ, during the tech meeting, that you've got 3 large gas lines in the bottom, there's a pond there, there's a baseball field, it's kind of like, we asked the same question, where would you put building in there if you were to build it? It's very difficult terrain for that particular arrangement. Since it was part of the original building the way it listed, it made sense for the flume to show it as a commercial. But if this becomes a separate item on it, we may have to look at a different way of calling that category.
Am I understanding the purpose for this?
Yes.
Am I understanding that the purpose for this is to, so that a building can be put on lot 2?
I would guess the purpose is because the buyer doesn't want to buy the
That's
whole
not
property.
the intended purpose as of yet. The only thing, the purpose of the plat is to subdivide it into 2 lots according to the plat, but
Because the buyer of the old Donnelly building doesn't want all the other land.
I believe so, especially
Okay.
with the
Okay.
lines.
It doesn't,
That's a fair statement.
and it doesn't make any directional
Doesn't.
relative to the big land on this bottom
Right,
corner.
that's what I'm getting at, is that there's nothing, all it has to do is, we don't want all the land, we just want the building.
They
And-
just want to make 2 lots out of 1.
And the original, as first started with, it's all agricultural. So that second land is agricultural.
Well, it's being used agriculturally today, but it's zoned.
No.
No, it's zoned ag.
It's zoned ag, it's technically non-conforming.
Oh.
So I just want to point that out, that by
The
breaking it
whole
off,
thing, lot 1 and 2 are zoned ag?
Because currently they're the same parcel right now,
Yep.
before being
when you put
subdivided.
a separation in there, they become ag. There's an exception for where the big building is, a historical exception.
There's a what?
I call it a historical
It's
because,
like grandfathered in, legal
Grandfathered in.
non-conforming,
No.
under
Okay.
industrial.
Okay.
But for the whole, currently it's for the whole lot.
Okay.
The whole 313 acres, but when they subdivide, only that lot 1 will be.
and so
Okay,
we'll,
get into the grandfathers. Do we have any say-so into whether it stays grandfathered?
If they
Yes.
were to abandon the use, then that would, abandon the grandfathered permission of
You're
it
talking
also.
about Donley
Yes,
abandoning
exactly.
use, or whoever it
If-
was. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are certain factors, it's fact-specific whether or not they've abandoned it, if there's just a brief cessation of use, it might not be abandoned. And also, you cannot expand the scope or footprint of a non-conforming use.
Henry, if they take out everything out of the building and then sell the building, and then somebody brings in all new equipment into the building, can we then ask them to come in with a zone change to make that conforming with the future land use map?
I think that we could ask for that. They might have justification in pushing back on that and saying that, all this time, the use and intended use was consistent. Even if there was a brief interruption, it was marketed for industrial use. Everyone knew it was industrial use, and so there's been no change to the grandfathered status.
What
Now,
would be
I
the
think-
objection to?
What I'm asking for is to make it easy
Sure, there
to
could,
bring it into
I know.
alignment with what it is.
there could be good justification for them just to do it. Yeah,
And see,
so.
and I look at it,
That's what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
I look at it one more step beyond what you're suggesting. That build, where the building is sitting maintains that status, but now we have a separate property that is truly agricultural,
Right.
because there is no use of that.
Certainly,
Zone
that would
doesn't
need its own
change on
change.
Please?
The zoning doesn't change on that new parcel?
It's
still
ag,
grandfathered?
it's ag now.
What, we didn't change it,
That's
No,
right.
no, it remains ag.
It remains ag, same
but
thing.
it's grandfathered too, just like the
No,
rest.
no. That's where I'm
No,
saying is
There's no
that-
grandfathering because it is, it's zoned ag right now.
It's not
And-
part of the original parcel?
I do not know how long business has not been in operation in the building, how long it's been since they've technically been printing. But if it goes 12 months, they lose the grandfather status for that use anyway. So then they would have to, and JJ and I were just talking about that
Okay.
whenever this
Okay, when they
company
stop
comes back
Manufacturing there.
with
So-
a user, then they know they're gonna have to get
And-
right with the zoning.
And thanks to JJ for helping me explain, that other property on the bottom with all the gas lines and all that is very difficult to put a commercial, there's just not enough physical space for a large commercial of any sort, even if you tried to put something down there.
Now, the main reason, though, they would like to keep it agriculture, if they would, is because of tax reasons? I mean, is industrial, I mean, does anything change? from
Have
a-
they
So-
even asked for any change in the zone?
No.
So all they're asking for is to divide this into
Right.
two lots?
That's all this is.
Just
That's
subdivision.
all they're asking?
Yeah.
Right.
Technically, I think that's what this represents,
Okay.
what you see in front of you.
And I can say this, Madam Chairman, we talked about this earlier. I would make sure that the buyer knows that, hey, this needs to be brought up to date once they find the end user, because we don't know, technically, manufacturing could be anything, right?
Right.
So we want to make sure that the owner and end user, which will be different, because the owner is an industrial leasing concern versus the user who may make widgets or refrigerators, we don't know. We'll make sure that they come in and put it in the proper zoning. I wish there was a way that we could just say right now, hey, the intended use was IBD, and it should be IBD as they separate it, but my understanding is we don't have that authority.
That could be a solid justification for a zone change if they brought that forward, so.
But that's not what they're bringing.
No.
It's not.
We would find so.
But we'll ask them to do that.
Can we
at
ask
the
them,
time.
can we ask them to bring that forward?
Absolutely. Once
Would
they have a
you-
user. I will do that, yeah. I
Would
mean,
you ask
we
them to
want to
bring
make
that
sure,
forward to us? Because I would like to do that to clean up our own house.
yep.
Because we have a
will-
lot of exemptions, exceptions in the past. And the more of those that we can clean up and get in line,
Yep.
it would just be nicer for us to keep our
Is that-
house in order.
Is that property still remaining in the county?
Yes, it's in the county, it's not a
Okay, it's
city.
not been incorporated at all, okay.
No.
So can I get a motion to approve the separation of this into two lots?
I'll provide you a motion.
Thank
As
you. Can I get a
Wait, do we
second?
want to do that before or after we ask them to bring a zone change?
I think we need to act on what we're being asked,
I don't see any reason
do?
to not act.
and then we can, in discussion, ask to have
If,
additional.
Is there a motion on the floor, or is it?
There's a
I would say-
motion on the
I did
floor.
make a
I'm looking
motion,
for a
yes.
second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Now discussion.
There's a time limit on taking action on plats, and so we might not be able to wait until, unless we were to deny the plat. But I don't know that we have grounds to deny it because it's technically correct.
Okay, help me on something I'm lost on, trying to understand the grandfathering of the Donnelly facility. This land that we're taking away from it, you know, this second parcel, isn't that part of the grandfather too?
No,
Why?
because the grandfathering was to use the facility as industrial in the ag zone.
The property.
the facility.
The facility,
The building.
the
building.
building.
Okay,
The grandfathering was to allow the building to be used as industrial within the ag zone. So the whole property, the original 13 acres was zoned ag. And the use was allowed for the industrial use
Within that
with-
whole property.
within the whole
with-
property.
within the ag zone.
They could have
Let
built
me
it.
jump in here. So
Okay.
the grandfathering was for the use and not for the lot.
Lot.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Okay.
And just to clarify, and so you all know what we're dealing with, Steve did a verification on this because we were so confused about why it was ag. And Hannah and I went back and retraced all the research that Steve did. At the point in time that a site plan came in for then what was the extension of that building, the office was under the impression it was IBD. And there's things that indicate that it was IBD, and, you know, but when we go back and track it on the actual maps that we have all the way back, and check all of our zone change files, we can find no record whatsoever of where it ever changed to IBD. So that is where we get this ag zoning.
So as far as what you've been able to ascertain, it has never been changed, it's ag.
Right, even though some of the documents with the site plan for the building say that it was IBD.
So do you want to make a motion to alter his motion to say that there's a requirement, a further requirement, rather than simply approving this division into 2 lots?
So what I'd like to do is maybe, so let me ask Henry for help with thinking here. I don't want to no vote this because it's a simple.
Sure.
It's a simple division and we have a time limit on there. What I'd like to find out is when do we legally start the clock ticking for that 12 months? Okay, when do we legally, when can we make a legal determination that there has been a disruption in, you know, or
Cease.
a cessation of that industrial use? And I would make the motion to conditionally approve this upon the next, you see, the owner of the property doesn't even have the next user of the property. The owner of the property is asking for the subdivision so that they can
Right.
then find somebody else to use the building.
Right.
Okay, I get that. Is it appropriate to ask for a condition to be put on that? This isn't I can't do that on a plat subdivision, can we?
There are those who would argue that you cannot. So I think it's appropriate to forward that request through Mr. Harris. And, you know, at such time as they would bring in a site plan for any changes, we could then make the argument that there possibly has been cessation of use and that they have to file a zone change.
I'll vote-
Okay,
I'll
so,
vote for the-
so tell me, then, we have a motion and a second to approve the division into 2 lots.
Right.
Do we need to add anything to that motion?
I think our directive to the industrial foundation has been heard, and I think that's the extent of any suggestion we make today. I don't think a condition would be appropriate at this time.
You okay with that?
Yep.
Agree.
All right, so all those in favor, please say yes or raise your
Yes.
hand. Thank you,
Okay.
motion carried.
It's gonna be simple, JJ. It'll be simple. If they just come and ask for a zone map amendment, I think we'll grant it.
So we don't have any public hearings, and I'm not aware of an advisory committee, budget committee,
No.
personnel committee.
We need to schedule one, don't we?
We do need to schedule a personnel committee simply to discuss the issue that Ms. Gray arose about personnel. So if you can schedule that,
Absolutely.
that's basically you and I, correct?
I think so.
Okay. All right. And any other new business?
Okay, old business.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry?
How we did it or what happened. I'm still aggravated with not being subdivision. We approved everything.
I'm sorry, Rita, I don't understand what you're saying.
Our subdivision that was approved over in Junction, the developer has not put in streetlights. And evidently he has no intention of putting in streetlights.
Rita, I can help a little bit.
Thank you.
I pulled that up for you, looked it up, when we talked about it last time.
What,
When he did that development, he literally got that through right before Steve's changes on the subregs.
so we can't make him do that.
No.
So who's gonna be responsible? Because people are screaming, it's living there, they want streetlights, so is it gonna be the city?
I'm not sure that planning and zoning is responsible.
Those things just were not
Never in
required
there.
at the time that
Any
he
development has to
signed
go
his
through.
contract for the development of that subdivision. And I don't know who or what would go from there.
The commission doesn't have authority there, the city does.
We don't.
The planning commission doesn't have authority there. The city does.
I'm not saying that, I'm asking, who would these people turn to next? Because we're through with them. Where would they go?
City?
The city? Okay. That's all, sorry.
I believe. Okay, so I'm gonna try diligently to get through the rest of this. Is there any new business?
Nothing for me, nope.
Miss Douglas's question and our discussion with the Industrial Foundation points to an issue about the use of sureties and what happens when they're expiring and improvements haven't been made. I think maybe we delved into calling a bond on the Hunt Farm a couple of years back, and that's the first time in my career that I've heard serious discussion of a planning commission calling a bond and taking over development of a property, just because it's a difficult undertaking for which maybe we're not well situated. But the bond is our leverage when there's work not getting done. So I'm raising for all of our consideration whether it makes sense to keep our 3-year deadline for completion of improvements, if that needs to be extended, if we need to have other types of discussions with developers. Because I understand from staff that there, across our surety list, a lot of outstanding work to be done.
Are you saying, well, you got to have some deadline of some sort, I think.
Right.
So are you suggesting that to extend an extending one, where do you pull the
We
reins back?
could, well, today, we did not really have a mechanism in the subregs portion about sureties for extending the industrial foundation's bond. There is that part of the first article of the subregs that says we can grant exceptions for extraordinary hardship.
Right.
I wonder if anticipating future extensions, we might want to put something in the language about sureties that deals with extensions. Maybe we don't.
So
But-
what, would that be taken up by the advisory committee to
That would be a good,
develop
Yes.
that?
a good venue
That's-
for that.
I mean,
Yeah.
is that our next step?
Yeah, that would be usually where I'm thinking it has to go for clarity.
You
and
said we have
understanding.
some that have lapsed right now, and just are sitting there?
None that have lapsed,
Oh.
right now, but there are, it's more of like a lingering, wait, is that Peebler, it's more of like a lingering closeout process, where stuff gets done, but not checked thoroughly, and there's I think 6 that are like lingering to close out. Like, do we close out? Do we take the money? Do we need to do anything? Do we need to do a crosswalk? So it's more of kind of-
It's that, and you've got a valid concern. Closing those types of topics out can be very complicated.
Absolutely.
Because it's so easy to interpret from one side that I'm done, and the other side says, no, you're not.
Yeah, yeah, and,
Okay.
and I'm hoping to create a closeout process with Josh and Marshall to kind of ensure that like the sidewalks are 6 feet, not 5 feet, and all of that is met, so it's, yeah.
So it sounds like in addition to a personnel committee, we need to have an advisory committee to discuss this and come back with a recommendation.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay,
And Henry we might want to have Henry there for that.
of course. Okay, I'm just gonna keep trying. Any further announcements? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to-
Thank you, Rita. Second?
I'll say.
Thank you. All in favor?